favor. This is one more, please. Hello, and welcome to episodio número 31 of Otra, por favor.
Otra, por favor.
Ya, mira, ya you got your job back.
Mira, ya me regresé, volví acá. Ya nuestro podcast ya es un adulto grande ya de 30 para adelante.
I know, right?
Yep.
Now that he needs to get a job and start paying bills.
I know.
And
For sure,
he's starting to get in
for sure.
the age where the podcast is asking us a little more advice about life and, saying, yeah, I should have done this when I was younger.
Yep.
But
yeah, I agree.
How are you feeling, David?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm glad to. It's been, what, an episode that I haven't recorded? Or 2 episodes?
2 episodes.
Yeah, so it's good to be back, man. We miss Koke for sure, but hopefully one of these next episodes, we'll be all 3 here.
Next week.
Next week,
yeah.
There you go.
And, without any further ado,
yes.
we have a very special guest, like all of our special guests
yes.
that we've had. Arana.
Yes.
How are you today, Ru?
I'm doing great.
Good,
I really appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for
Happy
taking the time.
birthday as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and on the podcast, right? 31.
31.
But yeah, I was, so the way I know Ru works with Abel at Barbershop.
Barbershop.
And then he's been wanting me to, invite you, and I was a little adamant, like, you know what, let's do it before the year's over. So welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, this is my very first podcast, period. And this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time and that I want to continue doing. And, one day maybe even a TED Talk or something like that.
There we go. Hey, this is a chance to pitch it and
y'all
prepare
are
for it.
This is amazing. Good company, too.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
So can you share a little bit about you and, your background, where you're from originally, and when you moved to Austin, and why you moved to Austin?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Ru. I am known as the QueerfriendlyBarber. We'll talk more about that later, but
let's do it.
Yeah.
I have been in Austin a little over a decade, so about 10 years. I came up from the Valley.
The 956.
The 956.
Yeah.
Might get that tattooed maybe one day. But,
do it.
I've been up here because I did. The Valley's a small place, right? And it's too small to not get in trouble, if you will. And Austin is a place where you have a little bit more options for your recreational time.
To get in trouble.
That is one option. But also, a lot of hiking over here, and I really appreciate that, and like Lake Travis and whatever. But it's also just a different, it's a little space from where I grew up at. And that's nice. I appreciate having a little bit of space to spread my own wings, right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I would say a lot of people feel like that about Austin. You can just, a place where you can be yourself, especially creatively. Some places, for example, Houston, it's changing a bit, or even Dallas, where it was super strict and very business minded. But right now it's becoming a little more focused on my, like a creative part. Especially because they have museums. And museums, they display the creativeness, painting,
Yep.
So I think I like where those places are going. Now, there's still a lot of work to be done, but I hope the same would be with, places like on the border, where you can have more stuff where you can be yourself in general.
I 100% agree. And I do think that the Valley's developing. Again, I haven't been involved with the Valley for over a decade, but every time I visited, which hasn't been a lot lately, it's popping, it's bigger, and it was already big to begin with, but man, it's a magical place. People down there are very nice, very sweet, and I'm, again, also just glad to spread my wings elsewhere.
It's funny that you said that it's a small place. For some reason, every person that it's from the Valley, and I talk to them about the Valley, they also say that it's a small place. That,
right.
There's very little things to do.
Right.
And it's funny because I my girlfriend is basically grew up over there, and I've been going back and forth with her since I moved over here, or since I came over here. And I feel like there's a lot of things to do. But I guess since I really don't know how the valley is, for me it's like, oh, we can go to Mexico since it's right there by the border. We can do this and that. And but yeah, most of the people that I talked to, they said, oh, it's a really small place. There's really not a lot to do here.
Right.
But it's been changing because every time I think last time I went, it was I went to say like in July, and it was different from the last time I was there. Yeah. So it's growing.
More places, more
things. More things to do. Yeah.
Well, when I was growing, right before I left, when I was in high school, the only thing to do was go to the mall, the one mall, or go to the beach, or maybe bowling, and like that's kind of it. So like everything else was like having somebody cooking fajitas in their barbecue somewhere, and having like a whole pachanga with the crew.
La carnita asada,
right? The one that's been marinating for like 12 hours or something that your mom did, or your grandma, or your grandpa, or
Is cabrito very like famous in el valle, or is it something that?
Is that goat, right?
Yeah.
I've had birria up here. I haven't had birria down there.
Down there? Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know if I'd be the person to ask. I did work for a place, a food truck that was a vegan food truck from that, in Austin.
Okay.
That, but everybody there was from the Valley. And so that was pretty cool. And they might be maybe people to ask, because maybe not, because it was a vegan food truck. So
vegan birria. I don't have anything against veganism, but no.
Stop it. Right. It's your body, your rules.
True. But one thing that I was gonna ask is, so the talking, the accent. I know from people in the Valley, they say "but like" a lot. do you think you have that?
I don't think so. That's not something I've paid attention to.
No.
But like, no. I will say what you just heard though. That is something I do all the time.
And also like super. They say super this, super that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I paid attention because my girl says that a lot. So I'm like, yeah, that's super.
No, my wife is always telling me. She says I say like too much, but that's because I grew up with some people from Laredo, or more from the border, and they say but like this, but like that. And I'm used to saying that, and it's just when we have a conversation, she's like, you're always saying but like I can't help it. It's
almost like though,
right?
Yeah,
it's a filler.
And I really don't say a lot. I do say like more than like it's rare for me to say because I already know kind of like what I'm going to say. I might say something stupid, but I already know I'm going to say something.
Honestly, it'd be interesting if you like chose another word intentionally, and if you were like, instead of but like or I'm going to say cheese or something.
Cheese.
Like, I don't know.
Like to teach your brain to like react.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But also like have fun with it too.
Yeah. Maybe I'll try that today. Cheese. Cheese. So, you were born. You're from the Valley, and when did you move to Austin? I don't know if you already said that or not.
Yeah, a decade ago, he said.
Yeah, sorry. I appreciate it. So I
have a bad memory. Like, I have a memory of a goldfish, so everything after 10, 20 seconds, I forget.
I'm the same way. So I'm Puerto Rican, but I was not born there. I was born in San Antonio, and then 4th grade I moved down to Brownsville, the Valley. I stayed down there till I graduated from high school, and then like freshman year of college, I didn't take a break. I went straight into college. I moved up here. So I moved up here the summer after I graduated college, high school.
And you mentioned what you studied earlier, off the microphone, but what did you go to college for?
Yeah, I went to St. Edward's University for kinesiology with a pre-physical therapy in pre-emphasis in physical therapy.
Okay.
So that is something that I'm glad I studied, and it's definitely, I don't believe anything is like for nothing, right? So that's something that is a tool under my tool belt that I utilize, in my personal day-to-day for myself, for my body. and hopefully one day a little bit more intentionally with other people and like injuries and whatnot. But do you know what the word multi-potentialite is?
No.
Okay, there's a TED Talk.
Okay.
And it's great. It's a great TED Talk, but there's a word called multi-potentialite, and I see myself as that. And long story short, it is somebody who has multiple talents and passions and kind of pursues them all, but in a strategic way. So not necessarily all at the same time, all at once, but in a way that's like, cool, I'm going to do this for this amount of time, and then I'm going to move, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. And for me personally, I don't necessarily want to leave really anything behind. I just want to add to my tool belt and like cater to my creative mind, but also like my intelligent mind, right? Like a little bit of both, my left and my right brain. And I don't really know which one's which, but
Hey, me either.
yeah.
I know something is working there, and I'm doing things all right.
Doing great.
But that's an interesting. I've never heard that. I've heard multitask, but multi-potential.
I can send it to you later.
Man, that's pretty. That's something that. Would you consider yourself multi-potential? Because I mean, you're good at like playing soccer. This guy is one of the best in soccer, by the way. But he's also good at like construction and putting stuff together.
I mean, I guess you can consider myself a multi-potential guy simply because I can do things without knowing them. I don't know if that what the word really means, multi-potential. But I'm really a quick learner. So if I see you doing something, I can replicate it. I can do it really quickly. And I guess that's what he's saying. He thinks I'm a multi-potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't do it all like at once.
No, of course
you
not.
take your time.
Right,
like, you're not trying to do like cutting the grass, playing soccer, and then a podcast on the same day. You want, you know what? This is my day for one day.
Yeah, and you know what? Some people can. Some people can like multitask like that. I have a hard time. So I'm very much let's focus on one thing, the next thing. And sometimes I'm a little bit like, oh, I focused on it for 10 seconds and then moved on, and we'll come back to it, which isn't efficient. But again, some people are totally talented or whatever you want to say, like to the point where they're like, oh yeah, I'm juggling 5 things and it's just my regular day.
So you were saying multi-potential, like you talk about strategies. You don't want to do everything at once. Say, out of 5 things that you've done, what was the first thing you did? What's maybe 3 things? What's the first thing, the second, and you're current now the third one? What would it be like?
Ooh, on the spot. Okay. Just being in Austin, I have had a couple of different professional hats.
Okay.
So just being in Austin, I have been an aquatic director. So I have taught kids to swim. So that included teaching kids to swim, teaching teachers to teach kids to swim, hiring and firing, dealing with the parents, the kids, etc. I was like the big boss of everyone. So that's one.
Okay.
2, before that I was in, college, like studying kinesiology. So I would say that I had that professional energy, I guess, of like doing physical therapy type stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'll take that as a hat, I guess.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The third is going to be barbering. You know, I currently barber, and I do that full time, and but it's also not. I don't necessarily want to forever be behind the chair. Like, to me, that's boring. I don't want that. Like, I want to be behind the chair, maybe be on stage, maybe do some celeb cuts, maybe do some, maybe like have somebody who can afford it like fly me out, and like maybe do some fashion shows like New York Fashion Week, or I don't know if LA has anything, but like I want
Mexico City has a fashion week.
Yeah, I want to do I want to work with Queer Eye. I want to work with Alok Venman, who's a phenomenal poet who's non-binary, and they're like a public figure, and I want to do a lot, right? And that's just with barbering alone. I also want to do a bunch of stuff outside of barbering. I want to teach, right? I want to teach people to cut hair too. Like, but that's where I find my passion, is to be able to do all of these things and not just one thing. Because again, to me, it's boring if I do the same haircut but 500 different ways.
I see.
You want to do, I would say maybe like different settings would be one thing that would change it up, right?
Yeah.
Because you want to do it not just in a barbershop. You want to do it outside where someone can bring you in and all you have to do is show up with your equipment, and they have to give you a good place where you can like lodge in a good hotel.
Pop-up situation.
There we go.
Right.
There we go. And that's that's pretty cool. I feel like barbering has the way that industry has gone from how it was in the 50s till now, it has changed. Now it does have the fade, it does have still like that classic part.
Right.
But then it has a lot of new ways to do it, new ways to approach it. And I think that's why we talk about it so much. And like say our friend Cisco and Abel himself, and also Edgar. There's things that the way each of them do their business, it's completely different than it's good in their own way.
Yeah, 100%.
And it doesn't take away from each other's business.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win, right?
As I think it should be, right?
Right. So have you been offered a chance to like go and travel? Hey, for example, you know what? Somebody's having an event and they want you to go fix everybody's hair. Have they anyone has asked you to do that yet?
I have had some, not sure how official they meant it, but I have had a couple, like for sure one offer I can think of off the top of my head, to get to fly out and like all expenses paid for and whatnot. But long story short, I wasn't sure if they were like the clientele that I cater to, right? So I was like, anyone can do that, right? Like, and also like I want to be really careful. Like no is powerful, right? So I want to also like not just be so excited and romanticized about like, oh my God, look, this opportunity is phenomenal.
Like I'm gonna take it right there.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's powerful to be like, let me think about this, or I'm not gonna say yes or no, like, or I'm gonna say no for now, but like maybe we'll revisit. But I have cut a celebrity.
Really?
Yeah, in Austin, Travis Coles,
Travis
who
Coles.
is connected to David Makes Man. It's I would say YouTube would be the best for like trailers and whatnot, but it's basically it's a show and showcases a lot of people of color, Black folks who. And Travis Coles specifically is pronouns he, she, they, all pronouns, right? And it was wonderful to like experience going to a hotel and having everything all set up. All I had to do was show up, right? Everything was like organized and whatnot. All I had to do was show up, do my thing. And this person like literally gave me, exchange or, or lines and whatnot, which I see that as a like, you only do that if you really had such a good experience with someone. You only do that if you feel seen and blessed and like you're not giving out your number left and right, right? Like and so I felt very honored for that.
That's good.
Yeah. So look it up, Travis Coles.
Travis
David
Coles.
Makes Man.
And you only cut his hair or somebody else's, or that was it?
Say it again.
Do you cut his hair? You said
I cut their hair and yes, I've cut just them. Yes, and I will say David Makes Man and Travis Coles, I believe, is connected to Oprah Winfrey Network somehow, some way.
Okay.
So just more names to throw out there.
How was, as you were cutting hair for the celebrity, how was your process and what was going through your mind? Because you could be, let's say. I'm a person that I'm a very nervous person whenever I don't know someone. But once I get to know them, then it's easy for me to talk and, be myself. But at first glance, like I get stuck with words, that I get stuck to even doing short conversations, and I like doing that a lot with people. But how was it for you just in that moment? Was it a silent moment, or was it something that there was just a conversation going on as you were cutting hair?
There's definitely a conversation, but leading up to everything, I kept thinking about my outfit.
Okay.
I was walking up, taking the elevator to whatever floor. I was like, make sure you're not late. But of course, it was like 2 minutes till the time of the appointment time. But of course, when you show up to a hotel, like Travis had not woken up or like barely woken up or something. And so it was very humbling to be in that place where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous and I'm ready to go. But I have no idea what I'm about to expect, and like maybe this person is on a time crunch, and like they have like to do makeup after this, and then like et cetera, et cetera. So I just want to make sure I'm not messing up my job. But whenever I got there, of course, like I work it, you know, like I'm the queer friendly barber too. So like Travis Cole's being somebody who is like speaks my language, if you will. And would see me as a trans person, as a non-binary person, and I see them as who they are. Like, it's really amazing to like just have that. So of course the conversation was flowing, and I think because the conversation was flowing is when they did feel comfortable to give me their, you know, contact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then that's good. That's good. I know sometimes I've heard whenever you do something with someone that's very well known, and it can go very good or it can go very bad.
Right.
Like, there could be just you're cutting hair or whatnot, and it would just be like this.
Yeah.
So
right.
And you're used to, you know, sometimes it depends on your personality. You're used to talking and sharing, especially some of the clientele you already know for so long. So you already have a conversation. You already know what to talk about. But when there's people like that, it's just like, is it just them or is it me?
Or you used to like giving
what's going on?
Like therapy in a way to
Right.
your whoever you're cutting the hair to.
Oh,
But this one
therapy.
was yeah.
Therapy. I go to Cisco's for therapy because I'm about to go because I need it. You could tell.
Yeah.
Listen.
But for this celebrity, it was probably different, right? You didn't know what to expect, but I'm glad it went the way it did. You know, you were connecting to this other person.
And honestly, like, if this person was not part of the LGBTQ community, then it's possible that I would have just, you know, still been, get my job done, right? Be professional, do the haircut, etc. But maybe I would have like spent less energy on the conversation because, but like, does it mean I'm going to be in silence? No, that's uncomfortable for me, right? Like, I want to know also like at least a couple things about who's sitting in my chair, who I'm touching their head, right? Like, who touches your head except for the person who does your hair, a lover, and like a parent.
Or my niece. She's always like,
well, yeah, of course.
Family, right?
Yeah, but family, like, it's not like, that's a very sacred thing to do. So, like, yeah, I do think that if that would have been a different person, a different client, again, absolutely nothing wrong. I'm still going to get my job done. I'm still going to, like, do my thing and also, like, be a rock star, if you will, and be confident, right? And, like, a haircut for me is not just the experience of the cut. It's also the time that we share together. And sometimes that can be a little bit of a dangerous place for me to be because, like you had both mentioned, like, therapy. I am not a licensed therapist. I'm also not interested in being a licensed therapist, but I am somebody who, like, is literally touching your head in somehow, some way that, like, makes people just flow. And, like, of course, like, you are going to be in a more vulnerable place. It happens to me. When I get my haircut, I'm like, I don't even know what just happened, but I just started talking. Like,
well, I feel like it just makes it better, you know, in a way, just to talk and have a conversation with your barber or whoever's coming or doing something to you. So it's like, you know, it makes things go, I guess.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Right. Yeah, because I used to be super shy back in the days. Now I don't care. But back, like, I would say 2008, I went to a salon and I got a haircut. And it was a very pretty, you know, stylist. And I was just so shy about it. Like, I was freaking out. I was like, man, she's about to cut my hair. Did I shower? Did I not shower?
Oh, my God.
Did I brush my teeth? Yeah. You know, and I'm over here just, like, being conscious, you know, probably didn't care about me cutting my hair or what I was doing or whatnot. They were like, I think this guy's fine. But I'm just like this, like, and then I could feel, like, the fingers on my head because, you know, they have to move you around.
Right.
And it would just be another, like, one thing that, like, it felt good because I knew she was doing a very good job, but also felt awkward because I was so shy.
Yeah.
So then it took a while for me, you know, because back in the days, I really wouldn't cut my hair going, like, now I cut my hair myself, but I go once a month or so.
Yeah.
So things change, but in the past, it was just so uncomfortable for me to have someone touch my hair.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just, like, you were right. I guess I started just going with the right people, and over time, you just hang out and talk and conversate. And I didn't know about the aspect of if people just feel vulnerable because, I mean, they're cutting your hair, but it's also you're changing their perspective from when they walk in to they leave,
Right.
and they feel fresher and they feel clean, and they go to you because they trust you.
Right.
So,
But also there is like a little bit of a dynamic of like, I'm the one who's in control. I'm the
Right.
one, you're the one who's staying still. I'm the one who's like, you know, like I have the sharp tools. I'm getting the job done. So like,
Yeah, you gotta trust whoever is doing that to you, right? And I feel
Yeah.
like that's why people's vulnerable because they're like, well, I'm with the pro, so you know,
Yeah.
it's okay.
I'm gonna look good after
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
well, and I think too, like, I'm a human just like every other person who does hair is a human being, right? So of course, I have my days where I'm like, I do not feel like talking. And sometimes it's only an hour, sometimes it's an all-day situation. However, I think it's really easy for me to tell when somebody's uncomfortable. And it could be about 1,000 things, right? But it's up to me to one, and this is a little bit of my like self-growth here, but like it's up to me to one, not take it personal. Like this isn't about me, but I can tell this person like maybe would feel a little more relaxed if they had their mind on something different. That's where conversation comes in. But lighthearted conversation. Because I mean, people will tell you everything, but again, I'm not your therapist. I'm not interested. And like, it's really important to set boundaries or to not necessarily respond like a therapist, but to be like, I hear you. Sounds like you're dealing with that. Or like, oh, that sounds like something you could explore in therapy because like, that's not me.
Right.
Right. So, lighthearted things like food, like astrology, lighthearted things. And of course, all the other heavier things or real things are going to come in because these are people who are seeing you. So of course, that's gonna trickle in very organically and naturally. But
What about let's say networking part? Because I know Abel is very good at. For some reason, he always, like you said, he's super quiet, but he's working on something underneath the carpet.
yeah,
and then
very
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
right, and then even Cisco, they're super quiet, but they're always, man, I need to get this done. Hey, I know this guy right here. Just give him a call or I need something. And
yeah. When it comes to business, I think
Right.
they're always prepared for that.
Right.
You know?
Do you have the same thing where, like you were saying, you already know, let's say someone asks for, man, I need to go fix my car. You already have, you know what, this person right here is going to help you out. Do you have that type of like, instance every once in a while?
Yeah, I do. And I think that's the best thing about being a barber, or one of the best things is like, I know every kind of person that I need to know for myself, but you don't, and you don't, and you don't, and you don't, and you don't. And like, no, like I'm the one, right? I'm the one that sees the enemies of each other type of thing, right? Which doesn't exist in my chair, I don't believe. But, yeah, there are times where people are like, hey, do you know a therapist? I've given out that information.
That's
hey,
good.
do you know a mechanic? I've given out that information. And these are mostly people that I've had experiences with myself. But if not, I'm not afraid to still give out a resource because also it is, it kind of creates a situation where it's also like, oh, I'm not like responsible, yet at the same time, like I just made this person's like life 100 times easier, which I appreciate when that happens to me, right?
Yeah,
So-
we like easy for sure.
Yeah.
What
We all
about
do.
during the holidays or, time will comes for your birthday? Do you get people bring you gift cards or gifts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I heard that's
people-
that's a perk of a stylist or barbershop or nail. So my wife does nails.
Yeah.
So she's always like, yeah, someone brought me this or someone brought me this. Like, that's nice.
I mean, I've for myself, but also for other people, I've gotten,
A Ferrari.
bottles. I've gotten plants, which are like high key one of my favorite gifts. I've gotten bracelets. I actually got this bracelet right here. I've gotten even like coffee, right, or like tons of like monetary appreciation, right, for saying, hey, thank you for taking care of me all year long. Nobody hold me to this, but on birthdays, if somebody's been loyal to me, sometimes I show my appreciation from my end, right? Hey, it's your birthday. Let me, kind of treat you in this way, or throw in a little bit of this, or, knock off a little bit of this, right?
Let me do the little like line right here. The
Yeah.
little,
Yeah,
X.
Let me fix your eyebrows. Let me.
let me just knock down everything.
Dang.
0.
That was like
No eyebrows or lashes. No, I'm kidding.
no eyebrows or lashes. I saw, it's funny because earlier I was looking in the mirror And I was like, man,
Yeah.
my brows are, I'm getting older. My eyes are getting bushy. I need to get the little trimmer that evens it out. Because there's some point like, I just woken up too, but it was like one right here, one like this.
Yeah.
Man, I'm looking rough. I need to fix that.
I mean, it'd be like that sometimes.
You know what? And it's funny that you say that. I never have, fixed my eyebrows or anything. And now that I'm saying that, maybe they're all messed up or something.
Now you're going to be cautious about it.
I know.
And
I'll be like, I need to go get my eyebrows down.
Yeah, you're going to go, Hannah, so when are you going to go get your eyebrows done?
Take me with you.
Next time you get your haircut, you go see a barber?
Yeah, I go.
Next time you see a haircut, just tell him, hey, Kate, do you think you could like razor just the top?
And they just do it?
Yeah, because it's like the same thing as razoring this, right? But it's like a vellus hairs. Now your barber may do an add-on charge or not, right?
Yeah.
So it's totally up to them. But like, yeah, I always like, especially if you're getting your beard, your hair, every hair except for your brows is in place, and like it's going to bring out the like little things that aren't in place. So.
I gotta pay attention now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
But
conscious.
they look fine to me though.
He's gonna come in
Most
later
of y'all
on.
have good brows.
Thank you. We try, like
This
right
is
here.
a room full of good brows right now.
Yeah,
There you go.
I know, right?
No, my brother got like very good brows,
Yeah.
and he was just born with the. I would say I always tell people, my sister and my brother were born with the good looking genes, but I was born with the brains.
Oh, lie.
Because man, they're
You're like, now
also
I got
very,
both.
I got both. So no, it's funny because my brother's a very good looking guy, so he came up with like the thinnest eyebrows, and then his hair is a little more of a like the lighter color, so his brows are on the same thing, and he started letting his beard grow, and he has a lot more blonde and like red patches.
Yeah.
Not like this dude. I don't think he's, we're from the same mom or dad, but we are. But
The lechero.
lechero.
Oh, I was thinking that.
the lechero. But, so one thing that we're talking about, like say being a barber, and then you're in the LGBTQ community.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm dyslexic.
You're doing good, though.
So how is that as a barber? Because I know sometimes in some, like say it was a very manly thing, a very place where it's you're a man, you go get a haircut here. But right now it's a lot of the community you cater is in the LGBTQ community. How is that for you, or what has been something like say different, or when? What would you say is or we already know it's different, but
Right.
how, like for you, how has that experience been?
Yeah. First, excuse me, because I do believe I have something in my eye. But
No, you're good.
we're
You start
doing
crying like, man, we're getting deep in this conversation.
we don't want to cry, but we are. No.
I don't know. Am I mistaken? Yeah, this is a lovely question. This is what I live for too, and like this is why I go to work. So, first off, I did not introduce myself with my pronouns. So my pronouns are he and they, right? So, as the queer friendly barber, that's a name that I have, created, built, strategically sought out the people who I want to sit in my chair and cater to. And so traditionally speaking, man, the barber world and history is amazing, right? Like you learn about all sorts of stuff about where, people braiding maps in their hair so they can like use the map to help them, right? You learn about people who are shaving off a whole literal circle of patch like in the back, which is like I believe a thing of respect. It's been a little bit from my barber history, so I apologize all the barber tonsorial artists out there, but traditionally speaking, this has been a community, as a industry that has served cis hetero men, right? And what do I mean by that? I mean men who are straight who were assigned male at birth, right? And so that also, it's also a binary, right? And so I'm saying these words, I don't necessarily mean them as bad words. All I'm simply trying to say is like, this industry has catered to these people. Cool. What about everybody else, right? What about the woman, the gays, the queers, the non-binary people, the trans people, right? What about the people who don't exist within the binary, right? Like, and so the work that I do has been to work on my language, right? Like ask things like pronouns instead of saying things like woman and man's cut, saying like long and short hair, right? Because like everybody has hair, long or short, and like what is like if you take a follicle from here and here, like you're not going to see a difference, right? So the industry has become, in my eyes, a little bit more of a rainbow because of this, right? And so at times I've had moments of frustration, of course, and those frustrating moments are like my drive, my passion, but the moments of frustration has just been like, man, this industry has not served so many people, right? Therefore, it's been limiting. It's limited me, people like me, to show up and get what I want, right? It means too that like people aren't being seen, heard, people are being misunderstood. It means too that like even if they are like verbally communicating and consenting to whatever, that like they will still just not be, you know, it's like if you go into a candy store, but you're like, hey, I'm looking for some fruit. Where are the fruit? You know, and like, it's like, okay, well, like you're just, okay, like it's not the best options at a candy store. It doesn't really make sense, right? So yeah, as a queer-friendly barber, I've been centering like the LGBTQ community. And I'm so happy to do that. I'm so proud to do that. And that's also something that has been like transformative for not just me, and it has been transformative for me to have 13-year-olds who are trans, who have really supportive parents, like, you know, show up and take care of their haircut and tell me like, hey, listen, like, I'm here for you if you need it, and just offer that because of who I am and what I provide for their kid. Like, I think for me, that's healing, just to even be around it. To like, I'm giving this kid something that maybe a lot of other people can do. Absolutely, right? Like it's not necessarily the haircut. Maybe you can get the exact same haircut, but what I'm doing is like, I'm asking like, hey, who are you? Who are you? You're the one that gets to tell me that. I'm not going to assume or anything. And it's also not like, I'm not necessarily just, I also want like everybody in the world to like play with gender or paint their nails if they want, or like I don't know, like the world doesn't have to be so limiting. And like, if any one person isn't happy, then like, hey, there's like a lot that you can do. There's so many like, you can taste the rainbow, you know? But like, I'm here to have a win-win situation where if I am not the barber for you, great. I respect you for knowing that. I respect you for being self-aware to know what you want and know that like I'm not the barber for you, and that's wonderful. And I'm also not demonizing you for that. You know what I mean? Like, and also the people who sit in my chair who may not be a part of the community, they are supportive allies, right? So I'm assuming, but like they are understanding that I'm going to talk about things that are relating to my life, right? Like anti-trans laws, anti-abortion laws, whatever. I'm going to bring these things up that matter, that affect my life and people in my community. And if you are not affected, you're still going to hear about this. Right. If you are cis, you're definitely going to get the, hey, what are your pronouns question, right? Because like that person is the person that like can and will normalize when the other people aren't being heard or listened to, right? So like it's a hard balance to approach it with love, right? Especially when I have a lot of energy, where sometimes I'm like, well, I don't really feel that loving, you know, but that's what I got to give to the world because that's what I want back.
And that's the thing, love. A lot of the times we tend to just struggle with that, and because of disagreements, we don't focus on that part. That's one thing that my dad taught me. Like, I'm a Christian. Like, I was born Christian, but my dad, I can't remember exactly what. In 2015, there was the gay marriage, like some kind of like gay marriage law passed or was approved. And a lot of people in the Christian world were super mad about that. And even the church I used to go to, with all due respect, the pastor went in, and his right to say, like, no, you know, we love them. We love gay people. We love anyone that, you know, who's who's not heterosexual, but we're not gonna be. They can come to the church with in a place of love. We're not gonna be marrying them, and then okay, that respect. We respect that. And my dad told me this, and it made a lot of sense for me, and that's why my dad and I we can talk about a lot of things. He said, "Here's the one thing that we're not doing as Christians, and gay people are. They are finding how to live and how to, pretty much express their livelihood and how they are through love. You don't see them fighting. You don't see them going to kill people. It's all through love, and that's all they want to do. If we Christians really, really want people to come to church and change or be Christians, we should be doing it out of love and not out of restrictions.
Yeah.
And that for me, that was the thing that I took from my dad, and I appreciate it because that's true. I grew up in a place where there's a lot of restrictions, and then you can't express who you are because of a certain place or a certain thing. And it's one of those things that I felt that, you know what, I don't know if I can be in these places if not everybody's accepted as how they are.
Right.
No matter what it is.
Right.
And any relationship between a person, it's a person and God. That's their relationship. I can't touch that. I can't tell people how to live or not. That's between them and God. So, but and a lot of that is I just feel like how you said it's super important. You're living everything and you're trying to express, even when people come to get a haircut with you, you're doing it because you're doing it out of love. And we forget that at times. And that's one thing that's why I think the world is so jacked up, is because we want to implement so many things and how we are because of me. But it's not because like the love part. We tend to forget about that.
The problem is like we're so used to on how to follow these rules that we gotta be like this, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. I mean, we follow all these rules to make society, right, the perfect world or whatever. But in reality, at the end of the day, it's how you feel. And like he was saying, whatever he does it with love. And I think most of us forgot about that simply because we needed to follow these rules. And we're so like, I want to say like robots, basically, that we just want to follow that straight line, right? We don't want to like move around it, or we're the bad person. We're doing something bad. We're not allowed. We're not allowed to do this. And I feel like when it comes to religion, you gotta follow a lot of things like that. You gotta be doing this. You can't do that. You can't do this. And at the end of the day, it has to do with you. If you wanna do that, because there's a lot of people that wants to follow that, want to follow the rules, want to do that. If you really don't want to be a part of that, just do your thing and do it with love. I think that's a main thing that you have to accept.
What I'm hearing from both of you is that limitations.
Yes.
I'm hearing binaries, right? Like black and white thinking, which is something that like everybody learns how to like live in a gray space in their life in a way that's not like it's this or it's that and that's it, right? It's left or it's right. Okay, what about up? What about forward? What about backwards? What about down? What about
like there's so many ways, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even like say you said one thing, like say like you're saying like not in erasing, like living in a black or white, type of an example, not in a racial way. And that's true because you're not happy one way, you're not happy the other way. You have to be able to find that gray part.
Yeah.
And once you find a gray part, then that's when you find a balance. Because, people that do the right thing all the time, I'm pretty sure they're not the happiest person around. People that do the wrong thing all the time, I'm pretty sure they're not. And it's just an example. But it's just because there's no balance on how to live. Like there's no balance on living, like you said, limitations. People just want to limit themselves to so many things without understanding why. And when you don't understand why, then that's when we have a lot of issues that become disagreements and then becomes into laws. Like abortion, for example. It's one thing that we have these people that, yes, let's save the babies and this and that. Yes, dude, but do you know what's going on in the minority communities?
No, they don't. And also these people are people who are making decisions for bodies that are none of theirs.
Exactly.
And like like how does that even like what? How does that even make sense? That's like me choosing a tattoo for you.
Basically.
Right? Like I strongly believe in like your body, your rules, right? That means haircut, that means tattoo, that means your food, that means your religion, right? That means
Sexual.
Everything,
Yeah,
everything. And man, there's nothing wrong with you saying, "Oh, that's not for me." But you can be nice about it. You don't have
Exactly.
to be an asshole about it.
Exactly.
You also don't have to hate, right? When people fear things, when things are different, a lot of times people approach things with fear. And oh my God, the trans community, the queer community, the the trans community especially, trans black women get the shortest end of the stick. And like me as a trans masculine person walking in the world, literally people listen to me more now than they ever have before. And that's because I've been playing a little bit with my gender. And I've been able to all sorts of stuff, but like I think I carry myself in even a different way, right? And I appreciate that, but it really sucks to like have a lived experience where I know that I'm having to repeat myself 5 times for somebody to listen to the same shit that somebody else said next to me who said it one time.
Yeah.
Like, that's not fair. And like, I don't know when we'll get to a point where the appropriate people are making appropriate decisions. Like, one thing I do want to bring up is like in Texas recently, I think yesterday or today, yesterday, Texas, somebody in Texas proposed a 850 books to be banned from like public school libraries. And in my head, I'm thinking like, this is very similar to like in sex ed where they teach abstinence. And where in my head, I'm like, honey, information is power. And teaching less information is actually extremely dangerous.
Super dangerous.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's
yes. That's scary.
Because I feel like you're always going to do something wrong because you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Then when you already know, you're going to know you already know, like, okay, you already know more the right and wrong in life than when you don't know. Because when you don't know, everything's going to be wrong.
Yeah.
But when you know, you have a conscious idea of, okay, I know, like, if I have a beer right now, I'm good. If I have 2 beers, I'm good. But if I have 12, I already know for sure I'm not driving home.
It's like you have more control.
You have more control, yeah.
Yes.
And
That's because you can be more intentional, right?
yes.
You know where you're going now. You have the direction because you know what the vision is. You know where you want to go. You know where you're coming from too. As opposed to like living life a little more blindly and just reacting to things left and right.
And you can anticipate things too. And a lot of the times like you said, we live in a reactional world rather than anticipating the situation world.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sucks how they're trying to take all of that away. And it's just like, I like Texas. I like living here. But just, I mean, we have the worst. I mean, politicians are bad in general. But it's just, why are you taking away education?
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Well, like, so I believe, I'm not sure if it was a senator or whatever. Also, like, it's a little, when I find out this news, it takes, and this is also coming from a very privileged place still, but like, I sometimes get to a point where I'm like, gosh, I'm feeling so angry or so something that it feels negative that like, I need to shut this off right now. I need to like just focus on my day, focus on this. And like, that's hard too when, you know, okay, I could forget about that, focus on my mental health, focus on my day.
Yeah. But
okay, what if, and I'm absolutely not, but what if there was something that I could do that made an impact, right? If like, say I was the only person that could do that, made an impact, but because I was balancing my mental health and my brain, like these laws got passed, right? And it's like, oh, it's a fine balance of like, I gotta be good, but I also have to fight. I have to fight for this shit that matters, you know? And that's exhausting. It's tiring.
That's how it is with immigration from my side. Like right now, I've been pretty quiet about it. But when it comes up to immigration, because of my background, I get at it. I go at it. I don't stay quiet, just because
It's exhausting.
Yeah, I feel like
It's
if I stay quiet, someone else is gonna go and do something stupid, and then try to ban every single situation for an immigrant and trying to make life miserable. So it's people sometimes like, man, why you gotta say so much about immigration or this and that? Like, dude, because if they took away that guy right now, like, that's my livelihood. That's, that's what's keeping me working here in America.
Yeah.
Like that has a lot of meaning to me. Maybe not to you, because you already have something that you can sit back and relax, but to me, no, dude, it's every single decision a judge makes, and even bans, is just one of those things that if I stay quiet, someone else is gonna do the opposite and react against us. So it's hard. It's a very hard thing to balance.
I think as well, like, one thing I want to throw in there is that people in power are the people who can actually change things in the laws, but how does that how do we get to that point, right? And also, who are the people in power? Is that anybody who has DACA? Is that anybody who is undocumented? I don't think. I mean, yeah, they have power because they're living and whatnot, right? But politically speaking, in laws, and who's going to listen in the courtroom, like, so.
Someone coming from the same background I am, right? In a way, you're always thinking about that. And then that's the thing. We had this conversation with one of our guests, and the same thing. We were saying we need more people in power that has the same background as us.
Right.
So they can push these laws and help us better than somebody that hasn't, for example, that has no documents, right? Which is tough. Or somebody that it's from your community, right? And I feel like it will be much easier if we get somebody in power that it's been through something related to what we have.
Do you think easier, or do you think we would see some forward movement?
That's what I mean, like something changing.
Yeah.
We will see a change, I think.
There's like, I've always thought about two things. One is, okay, I can pray, but I also have to do actions. And another is, if there's not a spot, then I need to go knock on a door so I can be in that spot for me. If there's no representation in the place, then I'm gonna be myself knocking on the door to get there so I can represent my people. And it's this, and I don't like complaining about things. I complain about a lot of things in general.
I hear you, though.
But like, I rather, like, instead of me ranting about it on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, my mindset now is, you know what? I actually want to knock on doors and get in places where I can do some kind of difference, or talk to someone that can make him, reason why this situation is not good for me and for my people.
Right.
And a lot of the times people want to just focus on that complaining part. Like, I just see so many people just complain about their situation, complain about how messed up everything is for them,
but then they don't do
But they don't do anything about it. They don't do anything about it.
Because it's easy to do that, man. It's easy to complain and not do anything. That's the easiest thing.
Well, it's also valid, right? Like, it's okay for people to, like, feel some type of way, to express it, and that could be fuel for action, right?
Yes.
Like,
what I was gonna say, do you think, for example, you have your community, right? And for example, he has his immigration issues or whatever, and we're always expecting, for example, I'm always expecting him to say something about it or do something about it. But why not somebody that it's not in the same situation doing something about it? Wouldn't that be helpful for everybody?
yes.
Yeah, that's when the allies come in.
Right.
Yeah. And that's one thing I wanted to say when you mentioned earlier, like, people in the same position. It's like, yeah, that's one option of many. But we can't do it alone, right? Like, I cannot cut and build this. Like, I am for the community, but I am not the only person for the community. And also the community is for me as well, right? And it's a holistic thing. And I think it's for what I'm talking about, for what I mentioned earlier, like, that's why I said, if you're cis, I'm especially going to ask you about the pronouns, because when you normalize pronouns as a person who still identifies with the gender that was given to you at birth, then you are also normalizing what it's, you know, anybody who's trans and their pronouns, right? Or anybody who's non-binary and their pronouns. And when you also use them and respect them, oh my God, like I swear to God, every pronoun, I'm not joking, every pronoun that people say, I hear it. Mm-hmm. I've gotten much better at not I've gotten much better at kind of like it not feeling like an alarm that goes off, but I will hear every single pronoun that people say, whether it's for me or for other people. Mm-hmm. And that's a really interesting thing to be like, oh, I maybe didn't say anything, but I definitely know you fucked up, right? Or like something like that. And it makes the world, it literally saves lives. Like when cis people use other trans people's pronouns correctly, because suddenly it's not just the people who speak my language, but it's also the people who don't speak my language who are trying, who are trying to learn, and who are, and I say this to people when they like fuck up or something, and I'm always so gracious about it, especially if you don't know information, if you don't know my pronouns, and most people do, right? But if you don't know, I'm not going to necessarily hold you to it until I tell you, right? That's when things change. And I always tell people like, hey, I don't care about your apology, right, but I do care about your correction, mm-hmm. right? And like, I really, truly mean that. I don't give a shit if you say I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean anything to me, right? Like, well, like okay, sure, I appreciate it, but like, that doesn't do anything for me. What does do something is the correction. Suddenly I'm like, thank you, right? Mm-hmm. Also, one thing that, like Lizzo did this. Lizzo did this too with Demi, right? There was a paparazzi who was like, hey, blah, 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 and they misgendered Demi, and they said something about Demi Lovato, and Lizzo goes, their pronouns are there, you know, they. Mm-hmm. And the paparazzi responded like this, and it was the best thing you could say. And I don't think I had heard this until then, but the paparazzi goes, thank you for correcting me. Thank you for your correction. And I was like, oh my God, if people said thank you instead of I'm sorry, you're just receiving what we're giving, one. Mm-hmm. And two, you're not making it weird and about you. Yeah. When people apologize, that's suddenly about you. And it's mm-hmm. like, oh, now I feel weird. Now I kind of want to make you feel better, even though, you know, like I'm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And then that's like, so like pronouns part. I'm learning about it. I'm not the best at it. Every time that's possible, of course, you know, but it's also like who you're talking to. That's when it comes. Yeah. And then the one thing that I have is awareness. And like you said, when you bring awareness, especially whenever, like say someone trans, non-binary, right?
Well, like yeah. They're like two. So real quick, somebody who's trans is somebody who does not identify with the gender at birth that was assigned to them. Mm-hmm. I am that. Somebody who's non-binary is somebody who, like, the binary is referring to the gender construct of male and female, which is two options, right? Left, right, this or that, black or white. That is a literal binary, two options, right? People who are non-binary are a multitude of things. So some people are like, I am both. Some people are like, I am none. Some people are like, I am a rainbow, like everything. Like there is more than man and woman. But like, I am also that, right? So like I am not somebody who is a binary trans person, and that also exists. And that person would be a binary trans person. Sorry if that's repetitive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah. And our listeners, I'm learning. Yeah. Right now, as you're saying this, I'm really like ignorant, if you want to call it in that way, but I respect it, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you're teaching me that. Yeah, I appreciate it.
And that
thank you for receiving it.
Yeah, that brings so much awareness, just because that would help on I would say alleviating some problems in life. Yeah. It helps on recognizing, you know, everyone, and a lot of the times we know people that don't want to, you know, don't give a crap about stuff like that. Don't give a crap about pronouns. They just want to. They feel like everyone's the same, and they're gonna treat everyone the same. It's like, no, not everyone's the same, dude.
Right.
Not everyone is the same as you, or that talks the same way as you.
And how boring would that be if that were the case?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, like for example, a Christian. Oh, a Christian person's like, oh, I'm a Christian. And I'm a Christian, but then some people feel offended if you call them, are you Pentecostal or you're apostolic, or I don't know what other denomination they have. So then now they're like, oh no, I'm the Pentecostal Christian because I am this type of Christian that. Oh, we're not gonna cut it, but like not to like say anything wrong about Christian World, right? But it's just an example. Like I heard something about, oh no, I'm a denominational Pentecostal Christian, and then so what about the other denominations? You don't care about the other denominations, or you feel like your denomination is the right one, or so whenever you and that people for me is like, okay, why not just understand and if someone is not the same denomination as you, respect it.
Yeah.
And
like
don't argue. Yeah.
You.
Don't argue with that person about whose denomination is better, who's teaching the word better in quotations. If people want to, for example, in the Christian world, if people like hearing Joe Austin preach because he has this prosperous preaching and it's making them feel good and feel like they're doing something in life, let them be. If you like to be on that, that a little more deep and a little more, type of like theology, that's fine. But don't take away from one or the other. And I'm a type of person that I always shoot shots at Joe Austin because he has a lot of money and doesn't give it to the poor. But that's a different subject. It's more about money. But his, messaging is actually pretty good. It makes someone have a good day. And then that's what you're supposed to do when you go to church or stuff like that. So it's just, for me, is you always want to respect people's ideas, respect people where they come from or where they're trying to go. And if they're giving you something for awareness, that's because they're letting you know, hey, this is how it's going to help you and help me live a different life. Maybe it won't be perfect, but at least it's going to be a little more comfortable.
Yeah, I see that as a win-win. Going back to what you had said earlier, like, you get to keep yours and I get to keep mine.
Right.
And we can both live harmoniously, and as long as we stay in our own lanes. We may not be the best of friends. I don't think that would happen if our belief systems don't line up. That, or maybe, I don't know, but it is a win-win, and I hope for so much more of that as well. Yeah.
And it's crazy because we also think that people will just respect and let other people do what they want to do, but there's always somebody that doesn't want to do that. They want to be right all the time. They want to have the saying, and that's why we are in this situation, right?
Right.
If we would just respect each other, I think we would be fine. But I just feel like. And that's the thing with respect for me. Like, I don't mind you doing anything. I respect it, and I feel like people need to think about respect in a different, because I think we're set in that straight line that I was saying earlier. We're following the respect in that same way, that we're just gonna respect this or that, and it's not like that. It has to be different ways, like you said. And people need to learn that too, because like I said, they're just used to following respecting these two ways only that we have, and it's not like that.
Well, and even for fun, let's stay within just the binary,
right.
Okay? Even then, anybody can have long hair. Anybody can wear whatever the fuck. Anybody can, cloth is cloth, you know what I mean? So even within the binary, there's so much gender construct bullshit that doesn't work for me. But listen, if it works for you, great. I love that for you. And as long as you're not stay in your lane. And if anything, it's like, oh my gosh, I appreciate when people compliment me on stuff, but I'm not. I feel like I'm losing track.
No, it's fine. It's a conversation.
My mind jumped real quick, so I'm going to go with it.
Hey, I do this. Don't worry.
Okay, great. So, bringing back the respect thing to, the kids in schools with the books. wouldn't that be so respectful if we still allowed for this resource to exist for the people, for just generally speaking, also because more information is better, right?
Yes.
Like, and also for the people who it does pertain to, kind of like you said earlier, or one of you said earlier, like, oh, well, this is not their lived experience, so therefore they don't care, they've not thought about it, you know, this or this or this. It's like, well, God, you clearly have so much time on your hands for you to be worrying about something that is somebody else's business, right?
And it just becomes so, like, man, I feel like politicians in Texas just want to keep taking steps back.
Yes,
not even like in a progressive way, but it's just education. You can have your ideals about politics, and okay, that's cool. But why would you? Education is a huge thing that, like you said, information. Now, the correct information that always has to be there, and I just feel like we're always just doing something to take things back. And the thing is, now you're having a lot more people in power that want to keep doing the same thing over and over, and just bring a lot more ignorance, a lot more, for example, QAnon and all of those stupid things that it makes me mad, because we're gonna keep seeing a lot more people that just don't think, and they just don't respect, and they want to live in this world that is non-existent at some point, and a lot of it is just through conspiracy theories, because education was taken away from them.
Yeah,
and that was not an option. That was actually something like, it was just, you know what, they took it away, and now you're gonna have a lot more people that are unaware of situations in life.
Yeah,
and it sucks.
I want to use an example from one of my best friends, Kat Lopez. Shout out. But like,
shout out.
But like, she once said, she was like, oh my God, I literally lost that train of thought. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
What were we talking about?
I was just talking about like the education in Texas and how they're taking it away, and it's making people we're taking steps back.
Thank you. I got my thought back. Okay, so she once said, like, okay, say everybody in the world watched, and maybe I'm twisting their words a little bit, but say everyone in the world watched all the documentaries about the meat industry and whatever. And so everybody's informed now. If people decided on their own autonomously to eat whatever, if it was meat or if it was chickpea, okay. Like, that's your business. That's your decision. You have the information. Cool. Whatever. But, like, that's a little bit different situation than somebody who's like, oh, my God, I had no clue about this. Or, like, the meat, what are you talking about? And it's like, okay, but if you're consuming this all the time, like, wouldn't it be a little bit helpful or intentional, at least, in terms of how you live your life to know where this is coming from, right? Like, nobody's going to judge you, but have the information and then take what you want with it, right? Even if you do decide to eat meat, great, do your thing. P.S. I eat meat. Like, I don't, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, say, for example.
I did it for 6 years, but.
Yeah, it's like, say, tacos al pastor. I love tacos al pastor, but I'm not going to eat tacos al pastor every day because I know they're going to be bad for me. That's an example that I can see.
Balance,
you know, with balance, like, hey, you know what, tacos al pastor, maybe Saturday, and then a salad or, you know, some soup.
Is that tonight?
Tonight, maybe. Hint, babe. But no, that's true, man. It's just, or, you know, a lot of times we just don't, people just want to be less aware of situations. Right. And we're finding either people that want to be more aware and more conscious, and people that just don't. And I'm just worried that hopefully that doesn't translate to things that can change people's lives in general. Like, let's say, for example, we don't get more ignorant politicians because we keep getting them more and more. Like, there was a couple more out there besides Margie something, the one from the one that got slapped in the hand at the beginning of this year. And I'm just afraid that what happened in January 6th is a huge example of, I'm afraid that it won't be the last thing that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure as people don't get enough information or the correct information, where he's gonna be dealing with a lot more like messed up things that it didn't encourage people to do something stupid.
Yeah, but I don't know that these politicians are ignorant. They may not be. These people are in power, so it's hard for me to say these people are ignorant, even though they may not be educated in these ways that would be really great or nice. They may not have the language, but you are causing harm.
That's
And I don't.
one
I
thing.
I have a hard time saying you're ignorant when you are causing harm.
You already know.
And you are taking from
Right.
people's lives in more ways than one. And you are creating too a even bigger haters, right? Like
Yes.
people in Texas, like
Yes. And it might be just me though thinking this way, but I feel like for some reason they're just doing it on purpose. You know what I mean? They know they're hurting people. They know people is mad, and they keep doing it. So I feel like they're just doing it on purpose.
But would you think that they're doing it because also they're noticing that we're also progressing in some ways, right?
Yes.
So it's almost like a pushback
Yeah,
situation.
they're feeling that they're losing control. So they want to get it by doing these things and making people hurt like that.
Yeah. Alok, who I mentioned earlier, Alok Venman, mentions a lot about how whenever people are transphobic, whenever people say slurs on the street or whatever, that like they do a really good job of basically being like, hey, like I see that you are like experiencing a lot of limitations in your life and whatnot. Like I encourage you to like explore and blossom with me. And it's like they speak to these haters in the most loving way, which is again incredibly hard. But how is it any different if I was like, no, excuse me, but like, no, but fuck you, right? Like, do I feel that energy? Yeah,
Yes.
there's passion there. Yeah, there's anger there. But also, like, for me, I have a platform, I have a profession, I have a reputation, I have a lot. And so I want to be really strategic with what I say, what I do, etc., because that's going to matter, right? So
That's true. That's true, because one thing can go wrong and then there goes your job.
yeah,
Well, that's the thing though, and I feel like you said, if you wouldn't think about this platform that you have, you could say easily, man, fuck you, like, you know, like,
right.
but you control yourself and you're remembering what are you doing and what are you there for, right? And a lot of people doesn't do it that way, especially the ones that are following the straight line.
Right.
They don't think that way. That's what I think. And I mean, changing habits, changing things like that, I think it would help. But cutting resources like the way our politicians are right now, it's like it's not gonna help in the future. It's not gonna help. It's just stopping everything.
You're literally excluding
Yes.
a lot of people from like rights,
Right.
from living the same type of quality of life as other people. And it's possible to have a win-win, but that does include all parties involved having open minds enough to, and also to be secure in themselves to say, oh, what you're doing doesn't affect me. What you're doing doesn't make me feel like, you know, because when people say transphobic slurs and whatnot, when they say like hateful language, that's all coming from within, right? So that's like,
From a conscious mind.
yeah, but like you're saying that because of something in you. You're not saying, right? Like you're reacting to what you're seeing, but that has nothing to do with the other person.
Yeah.
So
No, it's one of those things like you said. Yeah. How can like, let's say one thing you mentioned is if you're not for it, that's fine. Just be you, but at least be respectful. And we have people that don't want to do that. That don't want to be respectful. That want to continue to be hateful, and that's because they already know they want to cause harm intentionally, and that's bad. and that's because of the information people have given out, and or whatever they received.
Yeah, and like the social constructs too that we live in, right? The fact that it's like, no, if you are a woman, you have to do X, Y, and Z. If you are a man, you have to do X, Y, and Z. And also, there is not a there's not like a any third option or fourth or fifth or whatever. And it's like, oh, but okay, let me break it down a little more simply. Is life really that simple? Like, no. Our language, English alone. And we can talk Spanish or English, but like it's still limiting. It doesn't cover the emotions, right? Like there are things like love that are abstract, right? You like, how do you explain love? You can explain with a lot of words, but like it's also an experience, right? So I don't even know where I was going with that, but like
no, I can see where you were going. I can see where you were going, but no, it's I mean, like I would say, for example, in Spanish or even French, has a little more, the tone is what changes a lot of things too. And how you talk to someone when they agree or disagree, that can change a lot of conversations, either go south or go north. But
or a lot of other ways, right?
Right, other ways, exactly. East, west, southwest. but and a lot of the times it's just that the tone itself, and it's also because I know people that, let's say, I've known friends that they want to fight every battle that comes with rights, but they want to do it like this on their phone,
social media.
They want to send an article. They want to share something that completely, it could be something like, oh, hey, you know what? I like this beer. Oh, but you know what? The bubbles in that beer, you know where they're from? They're from carbon monoxide, this and that. I'm like, everything has chemicals in life, no matter how organic you get it.
Down, yeah.
Yes. So it's one of those things that there's some things that we can fight, but it's like some things that, you know what? Why do we have to like find a way to fight every battle? Like it's just I'm not saying not fight any battle, but like, okay, this is a great beer. Why want to take away from that great beer and let me enjoy my great beer that I'm drinking?
Why you put in some negative things?
Yeah. Right.
It's kind of like, if you don't have anything nice to say,
don't say anything.
Yes.
Yeah. You're
Stay
good.
quiet.
Yeah,
Yes.
like calmado.
There we go. There you go. Or calmada or calmade.
Hey,
have you heard of? Hey, where?
I'm proud of you.
I was listening to Roberto Martinez.
Yep.
Roberto Martinez, shout out.
No,
Diego Luna,
I don't.
the actor that Y Tu Mamá También or Star Wars, like one of the most recent
Google
ones.
it. No.
Diego Luna, you Google it. I got my phone. And then so he actually started doing that. He was aware of his pronouns, and it's called in Spanish or in Mexico they call it the inclusive language.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, whenever he was mentioning someone doing something, for example, it was female, he would say ellas.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't say ellas or ellos. He would say ellas.
Yeah.
Or instead of saying estos, estas, it's like estes.
And I think, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So a lot of people that listen to that podcast, they were trying to find a way to, because they're right there.
Cool.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
Cool.
So he started doing a lot more, like in Spanish, like in Mexico they call it more lenguaje inclusivo. And it, for me, is like, hey, that's good. I mean, why not include it? Yeah, why not include it if it's something that really means, just as, a Bible means important things for you, why not include it for someone that that means like that particular language or means to them? Because then once you appreciate one and the other, you said earlier, it all comes from love, and you can easily live a better life.
Yeah,
because then you can understand.
You're neither's taking away from
right.
either.
And you get to understand each other's life.
Yeah.
That's how I am. That's what we try to do. Me and my wife is we try to every time we get a chance to talk about stuff like this, it's just, like there's things that you can't change from people because there's a meaning behind it. And it can't just be, oh, they're wrong. No, like it's just, that's what makes him feel comfortable. That's what helps him live with rights and freedom that we want in America, everybody wants to have. That's the freedom right there. Whenever you can appreciate the other person's point of view and not just talk about, oh, freedom because of my gun. Like, no, dude, that's not freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. And if that is for some people, okay.
And if it is for you,
Okay.
that's great. That's great. But as how that gun is meaningful for you, then the language part is meaningful for the other person.
Right. And to that, I definitely want to say that that's beautiful, especially because Spanish is the in my experience, the most gendered language.
Mm-hmm.
Almost pretty much every single word, even
Right.
for a chair, a silla. Why? Like, you know, and I think Spanish is also a really passionate, beautiful language. Whenever you watch like a show in Spanish or in English, you're like, oh my God, the English one sucks. But like the Spanish one, I could feel every feeling. But going back to language, I think in the position that I've been in the community, in my job, in my profession, I have learned that everybody has language and the power of language, right? So everybody has the power of being inclusive, and that matters, right? Like, that's really cool when instead of, even if you're talking to the gas station person or whatever, like, instead of being like this or that, I'm mentioning something that is like wide open, right? So instead of being like, hey, do you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, like instead of saying that, being like, hey, do you have a partner, right?
That's what Irma says
Like,
a lot.
I think it can be really fun to almost like think of a million different words to use other than gendered type of language, and it can be done. And listen, like I remember myself when they them was first introduced to me, I had a hard time, but it's a process. And again, going back to it, like people see effort. Your effort is it is noticed big time. So even if you do fuck up, if you're making an effort, you're doing it. Good job, right? Keep up the effort and keep correcting yourself, right? And be humble. I don't know, like don't be all like
or like how you want to, you want to be known as he or they, right?
Yeah. Well, those are my pronouns.
Those are pronouns.
Yeah.
So like for you, if for you, why not cater to you, but it's like, say in conversations we will still have those él, ella, ellas, I'm all for that.
Especialmente en español, o sea, si empezamos a hablar español, porque estamos como programados de alguna manera, ¿no? A decir él o ella, o esta.
Hey, mix it up a little bit.
Y eso es lo que tenemos que hacer, yo creo, para poder incluir, como lo hizo Diego Luna. Yo creo que está perfectamente, porque en español yo creo que es un poquito más difícil, y simplemente por la cultura que nos acostumbran, ¿no? Porque solo hay niño y hay niña nada más, ¿no? En la cultura. Y entonces, de manera de incluir, deberíamos de practicarlo. Yo eso lo voy a tratar de hacer, de practicarlo para poder incluirlo en mi vocabulario.
Y esa es la única manera de incluir eso.
Sí.
Y aprender es de practicar.
De practicar correctamente.
Yeah.
Tal vez no sea un 100%, pero por lo menos un progreso, eso ayuda.
Sí, claro.
¿Sí?
Eso ayuda, eso
How do you say
aliviana.
effort?
Un esfuerzo.
Un esfuerzo.
Sí, y el esfuerzo es todo, right? Like,
correcto. Sí, no sé.
Spanglish now.
No, sí.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Es de Puerto Rico, así que sí.
Boricua.
PR.
Yeah.
Are you how Puerto Rican food?
Puerto
you like
Rican
the
food.
mofongo?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
man,
Tons of
that's-
garlic.
That's the
What,
favorite
you don't
part.
Like it or what?
That's the favorite part.
Oh, yeah.
The mofongo.
It's hard to find some good mofongo here in Austin, too.
There's one Chagos.
I have had mofongo from there.
You
I had
like it?
leftover mofongo from my last partner. It was delicious.
Lamar, right?
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lamar
and
Still different
Chicken.
from
Still
different.
being
Oh, yeah,
out
for
there,
sure.
of course.
Nah, we went to Puerto Rico and I think the food was just amazing every day. I could eat mofongo all the time.
There's something called un quesito,
Quesito.
and it's like a pastry. It's like has cream cheese or some type of cheese on the inside, and it has like sugar on top, and it's just like a little pastry roll with a lot of flakes. That thing, I can have one every single day of my life. It's so good.
Un quesito, you said.
Un quesito.
Quesito. I need to check
Didn't
it
have
out.
that. Yeah.
Nah, we went to Puerto Rico in 2016 and man, for me, I could just live there.
Yeah. Oh,
I
my
love-
sister did for 6 years.
Really.
Nice.
Nice. Also, the I think I don't know now, but I think there was a time a couple years ago where the poverty level was like 80% of everybody who lived there was under the poverty line. So in and of itself, its own things, but you know, humble life, and I can't speak for her experience. I will say that too, but
I know there was because of tax reasons or tax breaks, there was a lot of pharmaceutical companies that went there, but then they ended up moving out. So that's what started causing some of the economy to collapse in Puerto Rico. So I think I might be wrong, I might be right.
Y'all
but
fucked up pharmaceuticals.
I would say
But
that
also-
was the case. But man, I went there. We went, and it was just, man, it was amazing. I loved everything about it.
I never been, so I
didn't
really
wanna
want to
come
go.
back.
I really want to go. And Esteban is over there, our friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Esteban.
We have a mutual friend that is over there right now, and man, it looks nice. The pictures, everything, the beach.
The beach,
man.
Culebrita.
If you go, you should know that the locals don't sleep with AC. You should know that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So if you have AC and you want in your Airbnb or whatever situation, and you want a more real experience, turn it off. Don't use it. Crack your window, whatever, all that.
So what would
Which is savage, but like,
yeah,
That's-
but I mean, it's
that's
not.
good to know,
but
right?
here's the one: like, it's the Caribbean hot, so it feels good. It's not the Galveston hot.
Well, it's probably not humid. I'm guessing.
No, it's
it's
humid,
definitely-
it is
but it's like
mosquitoes,
you get
yeah.
that breeze, and it kind of like
cools off.
it feels different. It feels a different type of hot.
I think you still leave the shower and start sweating like 5 minutes later.
Well, of course, I sweat anyways. I'm already about to sweat right
Let me
now.
ask you this: is it hot in cold water or just cold water?
In the water, like in the
Like no,
beach.
when you shower.
I can't remember.
Oh.
I had too many mojitos and Cuba Libres. But I took a shower. That's what matters. But
Probably
I
Let's-
mix.
I don't know.
Templado.
Both, I'm guessing.
templado. I'm gonna go with that.
Templado, templada,
Definitely cold.
templade.
Definitely cold. Warm, I believe so. Hot, maybe not so much.
Okay, that's good.
You can get a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
It's because well, in El Salvador, like it's just cold.
Oh,
water
yeah.
when you shower. So it was.
But I mean, it was hot over there.
It was
right?
hot over there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you know how you showered and you get with cold water, for example, and then you get out of the shower, you feel hot because your body's trying to like level your temperature.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So that happened to me, and I could never cool off. Like it was too hot.
Too
for
hot.
me, man. I was dying.
And then there was no AC over there.
was no
too.
AC.
You would be dying in Puerto Rico. Straight
Yeah.
up. Yeah, 100%.
Oh shoot.
But still great. The weather's still like super lovely, like 80s pretty much all year long.
Yeah, it's
like
always
75,
80s.
80s, something
Yeah,
like that.
it's not like 100. It's like here.
Like here.
It rains daily, but like for 10 minutes sometimes.
There you go.
And El Yunque is the rainforest out there. I 1000% recommend it.
Yeah.
Yunque.
El Yunque.
Una cascadita ahí. Es Instagram worthy.
With the,
Para la foto.
Para la foto.
with the I know Abel's cousin introduced a patacon burger, or at least that's how you say it. I don't know how you say it in Spanish, but it's like a burger with the plantains as buns.
Oh, see.
What's the guy's name? Abel's cousin. He's the one that always brings
He brings
Steve?
up.
he brings plantains
Yeah.
everywhere he goes. I can't remember, but I know
he was seated
it's
right
not.
there.
No,
right?
it's not. No, that's not. No, that's Chubbs.
Oh.
But that's another cousin that he has. That everywhere he goes, he always brings a plantain, and everywhere Abel goes, he brings a bottle of champagne.
I have gotten champagne from Abel.
There you go. Abel, shout out.
Great gift. Yeah, shout out.
Yeah.
No, it's a cool dude. He's the reason why you're here because he kept saying.
I'm blessed
Hey,
to
man.
have that connection.
So we were having we were having tacos one day, and he's like, "Dude, when are you gonna have roux?" And I was like, "I need to go to the shop first, and then introduce myself, and then also do pictures for you guys, so then you can at least say, okay, this guy can do a little bit of something."
Yeah.
And then I went there, and as soon as we were there, 5 minutes later, we were like, "Hey," he's like, "Hey, Roux, come here." And then we started talking. That's when we started looking at dates and possibilities. As we were messaging you guys, I was talking to Rue just to get an idea when can we do it, because I wanted to do it before the year is over. So
Good job for organizing this, because some people suck at organizing.
man, it was so I wanted to have an outline, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to have an outline. I want to just free flow on this one. It's a Saturday. I want to just
I can free flow about so many things.
Yeah, there we go. Like, you know what? Let's free flow it. And then
he just got out of work too, so
I know.
yeah,
let's
super
chill.
Yeah. So and then it was like, okay, let's plan it. And then the plan was to record at the shop, but I know, like, I don't know how late for people stay. So they said, nah, let's just come over here and do it. So
well, sometimes too, it's a nice switch up for me because I've been there. This week I was only there 2 days because I just came back from vacation. But which was lovely. But
where did you go?
I like to switch up things. I went to Long Beach, California.
Okay.
It was my first trip out to Cali ever.
LA.
And I planned on surfing, but unfortunately the only morning I could surf, the weather was like not safe. Also, I couldn't wear I would have had to take off my glasses, which I can see, but anyways.
Did you eat tacos estilo Tijuana or California?
No. Pero me dieron un burrito.
Okay.
What
the heck?
Burrito.
Nah. Cali has, for me, I would say the best food in the nation when it comes to the Mexican food.
Yeah, there was a lot of great food, I think. Yeah.
It was amazing. I will say, specifically my burrito, the seasoning was okay.
Yeah.
Like, it was lacking a little bit of seasoning.
But see, you don't need Mexican food is not burritos now.
No, I know that. No, I know that. But like the meat inside was, like, should have been more seasoned.
Yeah.
You're right. You're 100. Thank you for the call out. Thank you so much.
If you would have let me know, like, hey, what do you recommend? I would have sent you a list. I got a list. So
okay, I'm gonna need that list for next time.
All right.
And you said it was your first time being there, right?
It was my first time. It's such a beautiful place. Yeah, it was awesome to like get and smoke legal greens.
By greens we mean grass.
Yes.
Legal grass.
By grass we mean organic.
And by organic we mean greenery. Another word for green. But that was quite an experience. Like they have like DoorDash kind of like a DoorDash situation where like they drop it off, and I was like. And they have like BOGO deals, like buy one get one for $1 or whatever. Like,
well, you know, like even now, like gummies with CBD or THC. My aunt, she like in Mexico City because it's legal to consume. She actually started. She's like in Spanish, like in Mexico, it's like a naturista, like a lot of natural product.
Okay. Are they a curandera or no?
No, she just sells like organic stuff, kind of like a low key. Whole Foods. When I walked in Whole Foods, it smelled like my aunt's store. I'm like, man, this is my aunt's Sara.
That's amazing.
And they started because a lot of people have pain problems, and out of nowhere, one of my aunts was like, "Yeah, I have back problems or something was hurting," and I started doing like gummies con un poquito de piquete.
Tu pastito.
And then she said like that stopped hurting. So then she recommended my aunt to sell it, and she's doing her business, and apparently she's getting good clientele because of that, because a lot of people are tired of taking painkillers. And I mean, of course you don't have to do it every day, but she said you can see the difference in some people's, like, especially like muscularly or in their joints. Se quita el ¿cómo se llama?
El dolorcito.
El dolorcito.
Sí.
When the earth has medicine, the earth has created medicine in food, right? The earth has created medicine in other ways that like aloe even, right? Aloe vera and whatnot, like that's all from the earth, right? So like I'm not knocking medicine because I do think it's 100% legit,
right?
But in college I actually did a paper my senior year where I talked a little bit about like Western healthcare versus like alternative medicine. And long story short, just basically how like Western healthcare, America, right? They will spend like 5 minutes. They will focus very little on your holistic health, right? Like how are you sleeping? What are you eating? Are you in an abusive situation, relationship, shitty environment, right? Like they don't care about that. They don't ask for that. All they care about is like your, the 5 vital signs. And then, okay, boom. Like I wrote something down that you may have a million side effects I'll prescribe something else that will help. And it's like, no.
You gotta, you can't just give a chemical for a back problem.
Well, it shouldn't be that easy, I think.
It should not be that easy.
It should be accessible, but...
Right. Like, I was talking to one of my friends that has, not you, but he has, like, by his groin.
Whoa.
No, because he just came out of the injury. No. And then but he's had it for a while, and he goes to the doctor, and they do x-rays. And then we surgery, not surgery. And then he's talking about they want to give them like medicine, like, you know, pills. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But here's two things that I want to ask you. Have they like recommended for you to get like physical therapy? And have they recommended anything else that you can do outside of just taking a pill?
Wow.
And he's like, nah, they haven't.
And it's
I'm
for
like,
the leg.
And it's just for like this part right here.
Wow.
Like, that swells up, and then it's just he can't really walk or anything. But I told him, have they actually told you, you know what? Maybe try yoga. Maybe try something that can help stretch it out. Because I mean, there's some yoga stuff that you can do that you don't need to be using a whole lot of your body.
Right.
You know what? I was thinking about this like literally this morning, where I was like, there are everything I do in my body in my job is constantly forward. So I have to literally on my free time like do the opposite, right? And I was thinking this morning about how quick and easy it would be for anybody to add a morning wake up routine. I won't even put a time frame on it, where you're spending just a couple minutes literally just stretching and like waking your body up. But like, how many people do that? I didn't.
Right, I don't.
I move my body, but like it's helpful. It's really helpful when you do that.
I do find that like I do stretch
Yeah.
a good amount of the week,
Right.
but not in the morning. But I do find that I can say from my knee could be in a worse situation, but like from last Friday to today, I can actually walk. But it's just because of rehabbing it and constantly trying to find a way to give it some mobility, but yet not go crazy.
El pastito.
Esas modelos del man. This week was very.
Yeah,
it was a fun week.
It was.
We went all out pretty much. Yeah. We haven't done that in a while, but it's a we call it the Guadalupe Reyes. From
what, going all out?
Yeah, so in Mexico they have from el día del cumpleaños de la Virgencita, which is actually today, but we said it early.
HBD.
HBD. So happy birthday! So from there all the way to Reyes Magos, which is January 6th. You just worry about having fun, drinking or whatever, water,
water of course,
and then so they call it Guadalupe Reyes because you're always doing something posada or whatever.
Okay.
And this week we started pretty early because Mexico played here at the stadium, and Saturday we started hanging out here. We didn't get home till like pretty early.
Pretty early in the morning.
And then on Thursday we our friend Coque, the other guest, host Coque, shout out, we miss you. we went to his house because we had a party. He's like, you know what? Just come like kind of like a pajama party. I'm like, man, I'm gonna wear whatever I wear, to go to sleep. Tank top and shorts. Yeah, there you go. They came out festive with like pajamas. I came in like I'm about to go to sleep. So they're all like festive, with their like Christmas onesies. Like Hannah and David came matching. And then I came in literally with chanclas, shorts, and a tank top. And I was like, this is my pajama.
Baby.
Yeah. So that was fun. And yesterday we were relaxing, but today here, and then I'm going to Galveston tomorrow, and then Saturday we have the dinner.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Man, we have like a lot of stuff going on. And I have a posada on Tuesday night. And then what else next week? On Wednesday I have the interview con este vato. And then on Thursday is Spider-Man.
Oh yes.
And then I have a wedding the next week.
That's still December.
And that's still December. And that's like
January 6th.
So we got a lot of stuff going on, but which I love doing things. Like,
he likes to be busy for sure.
Yeah, I can be at home one day.
With that being said, would you consider yourself a multi-potential?
I
don't
think
know.
he is.
You think so?
Yeah.
I would guess you are.
Yeah.
It's just somebody who juggles a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say.
And sometimes it can be all at once, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say. But like you said, I do it strategically where if I'm working at my job, like it's my job right here and I'm not going to do anything. But for like if I'm like a financial analyst, I'm a financial analyst at that moment.
Right.
But then after I clock out, let's go.
It's somebody
solid
else.
discipline.
Yeah.
He turns into El Chavo del Ocho. And
there we go. But I guess I just thought about it. I guess I am.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah. De poquito de todo. A jack of all trades, I guess.
Yeah. Is that Chavo del Ocho? Or is that
El Chavo del Ocho es una serie de México que pasaban en los años que 90s, a los 2000.
De 70s.
Los 70s.
A 80s.
80s. Ajá, es más viejo de lo que bueno, yo lo miré en los 90s.
Viejo, güey.
Yo los miré en los 90s y pues era básicamente diversión.
¿Una banda? ¿Un juego?
Era una serie. Por eso es
got
serie.
it. Okay.
We'll send you a link. You're probably going to like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
And it was funny and I just call him El Chavo del Ocho.
¿Tú te pareces Chavo del Ocho, güey? ¿No? Así más como Diego Luna. But yeah, man, Ru, I appreciate you coming.
Oh my God, thank you for having me.
We, I'm glad we have this conversation.
Same.
We wanted to close, we're closing the year. We wanted to have a member of the LGBT community. So we are honored that you're here and appreciate it.
Thank you.
Because we were having it. For a while, we were trying to see, okay,
we
get it. We have to do it. So I'm glad you came. And it was like a last minute thing on free flow, but it turned out great. It turned out good.
That means a lot to me. I'm really glad that you're like wrapping up the year with that. That's powerful.
He said he wanted to do it like that. He said we gotta close out the year with that.
So. I'm honored. Seriously, thank you very much.
Next, and it's funny because either Coke is out of town or the beat's out of town, but you get one of them.
You got the best one. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm just messing with you.
Can I say something before we wrap
up?
Yeah. Go
so, like, I know I mentioned earlier with, I dropped Alok's name a lot, and I mentioned earlier with the legislature in Texas banning a bunch of books.
Yes.
I know that people can purchase quote unquote donation copies that they can like gift to a family, a child, a youth, etc. So Alok Venman, you can look them up on Instagram. Don't know their URL and whatnot, but I want to provide that resource.
Okay.
I want to share that as a queer-friendly barber. That is important. Yes. And if legislature is attacking the youth, fuck that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fight that.
No, I'm with you.
Where I can. So yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, you take education away from youth. That's like the stupidest thing
bullshit.
You can do a country.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. And Sierra, David.
And remember, where can they find you if they want to get a haircut?
They can find me at the Barbershop.
Barbershop.
On the east side. We're located 1023 Springdale Road. It's called Springdale General.
There you go.
We are in Building 1, and that is inside the building, not on the outside. A lot of people look for the suites on the outside.
Oh, damn it.
Richie.
Yeah. And you could also follow me online at QueerfriendlyBarber, all lowercase, all connected.
Let's go.
On Instagram.
And you can also get a little coffee as, you're walking in. Hey, appreciate the coffee, though. The one you got me that day.
Welcome.
That's pretty cool. It woke me up. It got me focused on doing pictures.
And I still need to go to the barbershop because I told Abel I was going to get a haircut there, but I haven't gotten a haircut with Cisco or Abel, so I need to really do that.
We'll be around when you're ready.
Thank you. And I just want to thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate everything that you said. Thank you for educating me with all the language and all that. I'll get better and I'll practice it.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you.
Well, Raza, you guys know, y'all know, and, have a good evening. I won't say happy holidays because we got one more before the year, but don't drink and drive. And if you drink, just take an Uber. And cómanle tamales, el cuerpo lo sabe.
El cuerpo lo sabe. Y acuérdense, síganos, ahí estamos en Instagram, en Spotify. Sigan escuchando, hay mucho contenido, hay muchos episodios muy buenos. Escúchenos, síganos dando like. Y muchas gracias por escucharnos.
Arre, pórtense bien.